Hi, this is Randy from Friday's Golf, and welcome once again out to Beverly Hills Golf Course. We're out here today for a stupid experiment. Now, let me explain. A couple weeks ago, my dad and I made a video where we went and picked up a greens roller, brought it back to our course, rolled it, and it turned into lightning. Now, the number one comment on this video was if we had a Stimpmeter and if we measured the speed of the greens before and after. Unfortunately, we didn't. We didn't have the resources nor the time, but after thinking about it, I'm like, you know, we could probably make a Stimpmeter. So today's video is really based on, whether or not we can figure out, one, how a Stimpmeter works, and two, if me and the old man can make one. Let's do it. You done playing in the sand? Do you want to explain to people the amount of effort and time you put into preparing sand?
Hours and hours and hours.
Okay, so you pick this sand up to top dress the green with.
Right.
But the thing is that it's typically got a lot of moisture in it. It's wet.
Lots of moisture.
And we don't have access to
a spreader.
To a spreader that can spread wet sand. But even when you do spread wet sand, you have to wait for it to dry.
Yes.
So what you have to do is you shovel out all this wet sand onto the driveway. You spread it out thin, wait for it to dry, and then put it in buckets. Which I've seen a lot of comments where people think that you buy buckets of sand.
No, I didn't.
He doesn't buy buckets of sand.
I will sell them though if they want to buy them. $15 a bucket.
Since we only have one green, we just use a drop spreader like this, which works perfectly fine. You just have to put dry sand in it. So it spreads it nice, so we don't have to wait for it to dry on the green. It's already dry when we spread it, so we can roll it immediately afterwards. Does that sum it up?
Yep, that's it. Except for the wee part.
Want me to go show you what my idea is?
Let's go see it.
Do you know what a Stimpmeter is?
Yes.
What is it?
It measures the speed of the green.
Okay, but you know what a Stimpmeter is.
Yes, it measures the speed of the green.
But I feel like that's most people's understanding of a Stimpmeter. They know that it measures the speed of the green, but not many know how it works or even, what they look like.
Right.
My Stimpmeter that we're gonna make it out of is just a fence post that I found. It's got kind of the V trough in it that you see in Stimpmeters. The big thing is we're gonna have to cut some angles in it. I brought my angle grinder, make it the appropriate length, and see if it works, I guess. It's like on a cooking show.
Okay.
Making a Stimpmeter. Did quite a bit of research on this morning. Googled it. What I find is that you need the Stimpmeter to be 36 inches in total length. The point at which the ball drops from is 30 inches from the end. We have to cut an angle at the bottom of this. 20 degrees is the magic angle. Now, they make Stimpmeters, and you can purchase them for $120. Not gonna do that. That's not
how fast that thing is.
That's not our style. Actually, this is freaking me out. I just realized this is...
Yeah, don't let it fall over.
Yeah.
I can't dive across this and save it. There's no way.
I just got this thing back and I just realized the tripod leg wasn't locked in. First order of business, I think, would be to set this at 20 degrees and cut the angle on it.
How are you going to get 20 degrees?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that. It's
glad you asked
Good segue. When I did research on Stimpmeters, I thought they would be more mechanical than they were. I thought they'd be more complex. I thought it would be a system that have like a lever that you would trip and it would drop the ball and it would set itself and it would just be not just a stick, but it's just a stick. It's a $120 stick that is 3 feet in length. It has a notch at 30 inches that once you put a ball in there and you raise it up to that 20 degrees,
it'll drop.
It releases the ball out of there. But in my mind, that seems a little inconsistent because when you're lifting your hand up and that ball starts to roll, who's to say you stop exactly
every time at the same spot?
At the same spot. So they seemed inconsistent. So what my idea is why not use a little bit of technology? And what I mean by that is everyone carries around one of these. Almost everyone does. And within this device, there is something called an accelerometer. And what that means is that every time you switch your phone around and the orientation changes, that's the accelerometer doing the work. But there's a measuring tool in here. So once you click your level, it'll tell you where 0 degrees is. So if we angle this to 20 degrees, that's how we find that magic number. And then we mark off and then the angle on the end of it, and then we trim it off. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. I still don't know how you're going to get your angle just because this is up at 20 degrees.
That's why you brought me here today. So if you take this piece of wood and you put it down like this, and then you put that in the trough up a little bit, right there. So then I can mark this
Okay.
and then cut that angle. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
Am I gonna stand here a long time?
Once I have this angle cut and I have the length cut, I can just draw a line where the ball needs to rest at 30 inches, hold my finger on it, and then just release it. That's way more consistent than having to lift it.
To me, or
oh, here we go.
you could simply put your phone on here, put the ball back there, pick it 20 degrees, pick your phone up, and it falls out. What's the difference?
Exactly. Why do I need my phone?
Because your finger might be, you might be a little slow picking your finger
It doesn't matter, it's gravity. But I need my phone because when we go out to the green, I need to take my phone. What'd you do to my phone? Stand on this side, come over here. Don't touch anything. Okay, so my idea is that we have that from 30 to 36. We have 6 inches after. So what my plan is to hold this, let the people at home see what's happening, hold it at that magic 20-degree number, with my finger on the ball here. Once it hits 20, bam, I release it, it drops down the trough.
Okay.
Does that make sense? What are you doing? It's not gonna work now.
No, I just want to see what happens when you drop it just as it is.
Okay, so we'll set this in the trough, and then let's say we hit 20, bam, drop it down the trough.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yep. Nice.
Nice shot. Let's face it, this isn't gonna be super accurate. This is just us trying to makeshift our way into creating a Stimpmeter.
That will give us some kind of indication anyway.
Sure, why
That'd
not?
be the best. But
Not paying 120 bucks for it, I tell you that much.
no, I know you wouldn't pay it.
Shut up! You always have to say something like that. Ooh, that's probably pretty close right there. Hold this up here. Oh, it's 15 almost. Okay, 20, right on the nose.
All right.
All right, don't let that move. Oh, you did it! Move! You did it! I don't know, man. That looks pretty good.
Don't look too bad at all.
We've definitely made a weapon of death. Look at that thing, dude. So, my dad has some questions about this as far as how it's going to work. And actually, that notch is so ingenious because when you tilt it up, it's completely independent of the surface it's setting on. At 20 degrees in real space, at 20 degrees, it will always fall out of that notch. You can't just set a post out there at a certain height and then always run it off that post, because if the green is sloped, that post will be much higher. That way that angle would have to be much steeper to touch the green. Does that make sense to you?
Then you just drop it in.
So that's why that notch is ingenious, is because no matter what angle this green is at, it's always gonna drop in real space out of that notch at 20 degrees. So that's why we have to set the phone, calibrate it to 0 on a completely level surface. We don't want to calibrate it out on the green because that will give us a misrepresentation of what 20 degrees is.
Okay.
So what I want to do now is I want to eliminate the end of that track immediately when the ball touches the ground. So when it rolls down the track, right when it touches green surface, right there,
Yeah.
we don't need any more contact after that. That way we know where we can measure from in order to complete them.
So you're going to cut these off?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut those points off, partially because I think one of us is gonna stab one another. So it stops touching it right there. So I'm just gonna saw these off. I just wanna eliminate some of that unnecessary length, because when we put this on the green, we have to measure from the end of this.
Right.
And if we don't actually have it where it leaves the track, then it's not gonna be a proper measurement. There, that way one of us doesn't get killed. Oh, that's perfect. It leaves it right at it. All right, so now we got to cut it to 36 inches.
And you got to let it set cell at 30 inches, correct?
Yeah, the drop point is
So you
at
might as
30.
well mark that too.
Okay, measure twice,
Cut once.
cut once, still get it wrong and have to start over.
36.
Final cut, then we can measure some greens. 34?
What's the purpose of the 36 if you're starting at a 30?
Because a guy named Stimpson, who first created the Stimpmeter, probably had an exactly 36-inch long stick, and that just became the standard. Do you realize that the first one was made of wood?
I take that to work and blast it.
Yes.
Repaint it.
Oh, make it silver.
Make it purple and yellow.
Like a sword. Oh! Put like a sword handle on the end of it?
Then you got both, it's dual purpose.
Excalibur. I think that's it, man. Ball sits there at 30.
Boom.
Boom. Let's go do this. I'm excited.
Let me carry the stuff. You get your camera.
What if somebody attacks me?
Well, you're tough luck.
We do need pen and paper.
I would do that.
Are you listening to me?
I hear you. Pen and paper, big deal. Jeez. You want me to get a brand new golf ball?
Get some TrueViz.
TrueViz.
That way they can see the ball rolling and see like how it's...
Yeah, TrueViz. I don't know if I got any new ones, but we'll see.
We're out here on the green now with our Stimpmeter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple measurements. Now, from what I've gathered, it helps to find the flattest green on the golf course and take your measurements there. Unfortunately, this is the only green on our golf course, so we have to do with what we have. Now, we're going to take 3 measurements in this direction, 3 measurements in this direction. It's not perfectly flat. It's about a 3% grade, 4% high side to low side. But 3 measurements from the end of the Stimpmeter to where the balls roll. Take the average of both of those distances, average them together, and then that's your stimp rating. Now, my dad just cut the green yesterday, so it's had a day in this nice heat of full growth. So we expect it to be very slow right now. So we're going to take our measurements, give you that feedback, and then we're going to do...
We'll cut it once, then double cut it.
We'll cut it once, measure it, double cut it, measure it again, and then we're going to top dress it and roll it like we did in our last video. But we're only going to roll it once, not 3 times, and then we're going to
see what the difference is.
All right, now that we have our first measurements of the green with it uncut, and according to him, he's not sure if he cut it yesterday or the day before. Do you know? I'm talking to you.
Yesterday, because the grass shavings are...
Okay, so he did cut it yesterday. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it once, measure it, double cut it, measure it again, top dress it, roll it, measure it again. But let's go ahead, fire it up. My dad's almost done cutting the green. He's down to the portion now where we were doing the measurements. So in order to keep the accuracy and for the sake of science, what I did was I took some tees and I pushed them down into the green so it's below the level, but that way we know each point from which we measured from. That way we have the consistency of the angle as well as the starting point of each ball rolling out. Double cut.
Within a 1/4 inch of each other.
Time to top dress. We have taken all the measurements, we have tallied the scores, I have the results in, but before I share those, I do want to mention that this is not official, but we think that we did a pretty good job. Can't wait to share those results with you. My dad's gonna putt one from where we putted one in the last video to give you an idea of the speed. Is it rolling on its own? It is, it's taking off. The cup was actually in this general vicinity right here. It was where this sanded patch is. So go ahead and just putt it real lightly. Just see if you can get it to stop, because you couldn't even do that last time. Well, it did stop. All right, so the results are in. I have everything tallied up here on the sheet. Don't look. I'm going to read them to you in real time along with my dad. He doesn't know what the results are. Obviously, he was with me on some of the measurements, but he's not real good at math. I'm going to read you the results now for Beverly Hills green on the Stimpmeter. So uncut, the Stimpmeter readout for this green, that's like after a day and a half of growth.
Right.
6.6.
Which is real slow.
That's real slow.
Okay.
Yeah, typically around 8. That's where you start complaining about greens being too slow.
You might want to mention that we cut this at 156 thousandths.
You just did.
Yeah, that's what we cut it at.
Okay, good to know.
All right.
Moving on to the cut green. After a freshly cut green at Beverly Hills, we roll at an 8.85. So
closer to a golf course?
8.9. That's a pretty good municipal course green, I feel like. So that seems about right. The greens out here were never really lightning, but they were about like courses that we would play at. We've even mentioned sometimes we're like, our greens are even faster than these are.
Well,
so
Magic Hills was one of them.
don't rest in peace, Magic Hills. Then we jumped into the double cut. So we thought, you know, after we cut it once, it'll be faster. If we cut it twice, hey, even faster. Not the case. And this is actually something that we learned. So on a double cut green, after we cut it 2 times, 7.4. We lost speed on a double cut green. Now, after we thought about it for a little while, we figured that the first time we cut it parallel with the way that we were rolling the ball. So the grass was kind of laying down in the direction in which we were rolling it. Then when we cut it the second time, we cut it perpendicular, which kind of stood the grass up sideways, so it actually slowed our roll down a little bit. So we lost speed on the double cut. So when I bug you, when we come out here and play and I tell you to double cut it, don't listen to me. We're actually faster on the single cut. Moving on to the final results of the rolled green after being top dressed, 9.9. That's almost a 10 on the Stimpmeter.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick for a
homegrown green.
No, I mean, that's pretty quick. Like if you went out to a course and you played on a greens that were rolling at a 10, you'd be like, yeah, those greens were fast. They were pretty fast.
Yeah.
You wouldn't complain about that at all. Typically the pros played at 12. So right on the PGA Tour, 12 on the Stimpmeter. So I would venture to say that after we rolled this 3 times, 3.5, it was probably close.
4, 5.
Yeah. I would say during that video, it was probably close to a 13, maybe even a 14. It was lightning fast.
It was crazy.
So I would say, I don't know, if we rolled this one more time, we'd probably see that creep over 10, probably in the 11. I think the rolling obviously is
a great benefit.
Crucial. We could have never got it that fast mowing it a million times.
Nope.
So 10 out of here at Beverly Hills. We're at a 10. I don't know. I think for a couple of idiots out here making a Stimpmeter, we didn't really know how it worked at the beginning of this day. So to come out and make one from scratch and then to get the results that we got, that I feel were pretty consistent. I mean, every time we rolled it down the track, it rolled out to about the same spot.
About the same distance. That's why we had to mark the balls.
Yeah.
Because they would hit each other.
They were rolling right into each other. So that means that our green's actually fairly consistent.
Consistent.
Too. It's nice to know that we can get it up to those speeds if we ever wanted to. I mean, we could technically host a PGA event.
Hey, technically.
Fingers crossed. That pretty much sums it up. Thank you guys for watching once again another stupid experiment. Joining us out here at Beverly Hills Golf Course by the one, the only. I don't think I introduced you earlier. Scuba Steve. If you don't know him,
don't know me.
Go follow him on Instagram. He posts never. Thank you guys as always for watching. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, we'll see you later.
Okay. That's it.
We're done?
Yep, look at that with the marks in the green.
Why? I knew you were going to say something. I knew you were
You
going
know
to
what
complain.
really bothered me that whole video?
You were just thinking about
that
those
whole video.
marks
And this is what I
about
thought about the whole video.
What?
That rock right there. Look at the size of that thing.
know.
Sheesh. If somebody wants to send us one, we'll compare them.
Why are you always looking for handouts?
I'm not looking for a handout. I'm just telling you.
Hey, you know what? You can give him 75 cents.
Why would I get?